you don't know a lot, Julian left selling clothing back in the 70s. Is that right?
I did.
Yep.
I got a job in a clothing store. Rhodes Rapier was the name of the store down on 4th and Walnut, Muhammad Ali back in the day. And I was scared of my father, so I didn't want to go work for him. He was a captain in the Army, and he drove a tank. So I got a job in a clothing store, and eventually, after, about 4 years, around 1977, I got a promotion to be a possible buyer if I wanted to go by to New York or wherever and buy clothes for the store. And I'm going, oh my God, it's bad enough sitting there selling clothes on a Saturday afternoon when UK is playing basketball or football or something like that. So I said, well, thanks for that. Hey. So Preston was born, and my wife Sissy just reminded me the other day that that's when my father asked my wife, do you think Julian would want to work for me? And she remembers because Preston had just been born. He'd come home in 1977. And she said, I don't know. Why don't you ask him? So he did ask me, and I said yes. But I didn't know whether the bourbon business was, I didn't have a clue. It was, we had just sold the distillery 5 years previously, Stitzelweller. And Dad had started this new brand of Old Rip Van Winkle, and the decanter business was popular because nobody cared about the bourbon, they cared about the decanters the bourbon went into. Now, if you find these decanters, you throw away the decanter, but the whiskey's wonderful. So it's people don't, it's all about in the mind. But I started working for Dad then, and glad I did because it turned out okay. But it was not easy all these years. But yeah, it was. We had a fun time. He only lived for until 1981, and so I had to learn the business in 4 years. But what he did was had a great group of distributors that were selling our small Old Rip Van Winkle limited edition, because not that many people were buying it, because we were able to buy Stitzelweller barrels after we sold the distillery, which is very fortunate, because back then it was called excess whiskey. Can you imagine that, having too much Stitzelweller barrels before?
Excess whiskey.
So I was really lucky to do that, but it was fun, and we had a great time, and so then it was just turned into the decanter business from the 70s and through the 80s almost. But the whiskey part, I focused on when the decanters got to be $50 a bottle retail. That was kind of the cutoff spot. That was like Joe customer said, I'm not going to buy any more of these decanters because it's over $14.99. So that's when I focused on selling the bottle of whiskey instead of just the decanter. So it was a tough sell, but it was just learn about the pricing of bourbon and get the cost of everything and how you do it. Now that's all kind of done for us, thanks to these guys. They do the heavy lifting, but Preston and I did put our time in trying to figure this job out back in the day.